Today we're looking at creativity and play. I love it that play is part of this full-on university-level business course because play is seriously important. Play is key to being able to have new ideas, and as I've been arguing, new ideas are incredibly important in the changes that we're going to face as a society. And it's also what's going to keep your job most likely to be safe from AI and robotics, which could be an issue relatively quickly. I believe deeply in the importance and power of play. Most of my career has been about getting people to play. That's showed up in a lot of different ways. Everything from getting, kids to play in a summer camp to getting my staff to be more playful as they try to think of new ideas and solve problems. And I also try to bring play into the classes that I teach here at Mount Royal because I think it's incredibly important both to sort of our mental health as human beings and to our ability to step out of our ruts. I want to give you a little bit of my play biography. I think that play is possible anywhere, but that places can really foster play and the play of people who visit them. So I want to show you two of the places that have been really important to me and my understanding of the power and possibilities of play. The first one is the Berkeley Adventure Playground that you're looking at. These pictures from it. It is, an adventure playground is a very particular kind of playground. As you can see, it doesn't look like a typical playground. There's not really any plastic. There's no pre-built play equipment. In fact, everything that you see in there pretty much was built by visitors, by the people who come to play there. I worked at the Berkeley Adventure Playground for a summer, and the job there was literally to go around and check things and take down anything that seemed like it was going to be dangerous, to help out the people who came to play, be a good host, do good welcome, and then as you can see from the middle picture there, tools were important at the adventure playground. And so I literally would, you have to earn the use of tools, and people could turn in 10 pieces of litter or 5 loose nails or 1 board with a nail sticking off of it, which we called a Mr. Dangerous because stepping on a nail was probably the most frequent danger there, and we wanted to prevent that from happening. And if you could give me one of those things, you could have use of a hammer, a saw, or paint. And once you earned the use of one of them, you could trade them in for one of the others for your whole visit. This was an amazing place. You could watch people walk in and their posture would change because they're like, whoa, I get to do this? And the answer is yes, you get to do this. You get to build, you get to take down, you get to design, you get to imagine. It was all invited there. There are a couple of other things that are really important. It is a place that was remarkably multi-age. You can see in the picture on the right, we've got everyone, I think, from someone in possibly a baby carriage all the way up to adults. We had teenagers, who are the hardest group to get involved. If you can get teenagers, you have one. And we would also have little kids. We had one time a dad came in, saw what we had and said, I have a Sawzall in my trunk. Can I bring it in and work? And I said, yeah, as long as you feel comfortable that you'll also be able to keep an eye on your kid, absolutely go for it. This was very much a place of saying yes. The The Berkeley Adventure Playground is a rarity, but it's not the only place of its kind. Adventure playgrounds were actually invented in post-war Europe. After World War II, some people were paying attention to what kids were doing. And they noticed that the kids were having play in the rubble left after the war that was richer, more daring, more interesting than the play that was happening in other places. And they came in and studied it, and they said, how can we replicate this? Because all the rubble is going to get cleaned up eventually. How do we replicate this without messing it up? Without getting too much of our adult values on it? And so they developed some principles for what an adventure playground should be. And the most important principle for running an adventure playground is to have the risk be accurately visible. So you're not trying to keep everything absolutely safe. I mean, look at the pictures. It is not perfectly safe. Instead, you try to make it so that all of the risks can be seen and understood by the people there. So what that means is that if you're going to have something sharp and pokey, make really sure it's visible. Make sure that you don't hide it under a mattress where people are likely to go jump up and down. It's just about giving people the information to make good decisions on their own. And it is astonishing what people will rise up to if you trust them. And this is a massive expression of trust. And I worked there 20 years ago, and it's really stuck with me. It's given me hope, and it's given me standards for what I think a really great play experience is. The other place I want to talk about is the St. Louis City Museum. This place is amazing. Those pictures just barely start to give credit to how cool it is. And it... Just a sec. Okay, I'm back. That was just my cat meowing a lot outside the door, and I decided it's magic of technology. I can pause, but I'm back. So the St. Louis City Museum is unlike any other city museum I know of. Most city museums, tell the story of the city that they're in. The St. Louis City Museum is made out of St. Louis. It's made out of basically any building that was being demolished. They went out and got parts of it to bring back to this old shoe factory that they had taken over and build a museum where you climb and crawl and wriggle and slide and twist and turn. There is an area that is like if you imagine a skate park, but instead of being on it with skateboards, you run around and there are ropes that help you swing out over things. There is circus performances. You might find your way in this outdoor part. If you're lucky, you might end up at a spot where there's a bonfire and marshmallows to roast. There is a whole set of, they made a cave system that has all these amazing shapes. And in that room, there is a giant organ. And if you're lucky, you'll be there at a time when a staff person comes out and plays the music to Phantom of the Opera. It is just an amazing place. It is dedicated not to learning facts, but to another kind of learning, which is physical learning, which is experiences, which I can tell you, I took a trip to St. Louis only to go to this museum. The typical museum visit is 2 hours long. I went there from opening to close 2 days in a row. That's how amazing it was. And I left it with a really strong feeling. And that really strong feeling that I had was, I have been underestimating myself. That's a powerful thing to have in your mind and in your heart. And that is the kind of thing that physical play in particular, that's something that gets you to stretch what your body is able to do, find your limits, find out that you may have been wrong about your limits, is just a really powerful gift to give yourself. I would absolutely go back to the St. Louis City Museum, even if I didn't have anything else to do in St. Louis on that trip. It was that amazing. It's the rare place that I had heard a lot of hype about it before I went. And when I walked in, I was like, oh, this has earned the hype. I get it. And then when I walked out, I was like, the hype didn't even capture how amazing this place is. So play has this way of changing your understanding of yourself. It can make you think, maybe I don't need that limitation. Maybe I don't need to stay inside the boundaries I've been staying inside. Maybe I can go out and try that thing. Or maybe I will make a mental leap, or find some courage, or be willing to be silly. All those things that just open doors in your life. And not only does play do that sort of at a conceptual level, but it boosts your creativity in much more direct ways. There are things that it does, like it literally, if you can feel your heart going faster, that means that you've done something that's getting blood moving faster through your body. And that means you've done something that's got blood moving faster through your brain. And that actually boosts your ability to learn and to have new ideas. So you might remember that I mentioned my former colleague who could lead the 5-minute dance party as a warm-up for creativity exercises. That's great because it's fun and because it's silly, but because it gets you out of your seat and moving, it also wakes up your brain. And so I hope that as you do your creativity facilitations with your teams, that you'll, when you're thinking about what warm-up am I going to do, think, is there a way I can get the body moving, which I'm doing. You can't see me, so I feel very comfortable doing it right now, or other ways to not just get fluid mentally, but get moving and get yourself out of that sort of stale sitting brain that we can fall into. There are even more benefits of play here. It's a really great thing to do if you're stressed. If you find yourself just circling one thing, looping over and over, that's a very difficult thing to logic your way out of, because logic has probably got what got you into that loop. Stopping, playing a game, doing a sketch, singing a song, seeing if you can put your dishes away facing backwards. Anything to shake yourself up a little is way more likely to get you to an answer than just trying the same thing over and over and over again. Play is also a way that we deal with risk. Sometimes it can help us take risks that we wouldn't take otherwise. For example, if you've played horse, you might have tried to sink a basketball into the hoop in a way that you wouldn't have otherwise. Play can also give you that feeling again of, oh, I've been underestimating myself. Actually, I can go do this thing. I thought I was this narrow, constrained person, but actually, I might have been wrong. I might be able to expand those bounds a little bit. That's often a feeling that we get access to, an ability that we get access to through play. Play can also help us take things from a new angle, and it can also take us from a moment of just being worried into action. So, as you're doing work this term, particularly as you're doing your group project for this class, but as you're doing projects for all your classes, look for yourself getting stuck and try out doing something playful instead of trying to power through. It is really remarkable how often that can lead to a better insight, a more interesting and useful insight than just trying things the same way over and over again. It can also be really helpful, as I pointed out, places like the Adventure Playground, places like the St. Louis City Museum, places like there are all kinds of miniature golf courses, or places where you go and jump up and down on a trampoline, or maybe it's something like mountain biking or skiing or snowboarding. Or there are arcade places. Who knows which of those things are open right now? But you at least should know in your back pocket that that kind of experience is a really good way to reset, really good place to go. Or think about, how can I bring some aspect of this into my workspace? How can I, can I have a joke book? Can I have, there are all kinds of desk tools that are playful. How can I bring that in to where I'm working as well? And finally, play is just fantastic for our emotional health. It tends, this has been studied up and down, and play really helps with happiness. It helps with connecting with other people, and it helps with openness to new risks and ideas. You can trace this through brain chemistry. Particularly, dopamine is a great one. Actually, there are studies showing that people who got a disease that then made them take a medicine that increased their dopamine sensitivity. Some people who do that have gone on to become addicted to gambling because dopamine is the brain chemical that responds to an unexpected good thing. It made our ancestors notice, be like, oh, wow, here's a fruit tree. Here's some berries that I never even noticed before. Makes us go back to look for those things again, and we seek them out because of dopamine. That's also why all of the things on your phone that are trying to get you to loop back and look at them again have little red, bright colored symbols like fruit or berries would have been on the landscape. You might not, I hope you don't, play in the form of a gambling addiction, but aside from that risk, play has many, many huge benefits. I hope that you will use the power of play for yourself to boost your creativity this term. I hope that you'll think about the power of play as you plan your stretch quests, because you've got 27 chances to play this term and be doing it for school. Get credit for it. And I hope you'll take it into the rest of your life and be sure to build in a play habit, no matter what else you have going on in your life. That will just help you with everything else you're doing and help you to be happier and, of course, more creative.